So I'm kicking off something that a bit of a big hit. Coming from the transportation industry, helping to start up at least what was a successful transportation collection company until they let greed get in the way. So many sharks. The wrong kind of sharks. There's sharks out there that help people, and here lately all I've seen are the sharks that steal the opportunities away. There's a whole lot of what ifs surrounding the opportunities that were stolen away. But think back to what I said about ultimately the fight and riding with the outlaw. It may seem a lot like the hare, but if you really get to peel back the skin, it's really quite turtlesque. When these criminals decided to hit low, I started putting piece by piece in place, hanging back, observing, until it was time for me to get up close and personal. And it's not just so much about getting a win in the courtroom. At this stage, as far as it's gone, had it have been, just one cheap attack, it wouldn't be this way. Had the county and the city and the local government and the state government, and even starting to see the danglings of the federal government. It's not just about a win, a victory in the courtroom. At this point, as much disgusting involvement as there's been and where society has gone, I'm hitting back hard to send a clear message that there are things that you don't do, period. And this right here, you're damn right it's one of them. And if I have to follow everything on my own, fight my own battles, no attorney wants to come forward and help, I'm still going to be doing the same thing. Because the only person that's more dangerous than one with unlimited resources like our corrupt government is a man that's got nothing to lose. Because he's been just chiseled down to nothing. Had every one of his rights supposed to be bestowed upon by God, taken by corrupt man.
Courthouse in Oxford, Mississippi. It's been an eventful day today. There are a bunch of college-age kids over on the south side, right in front of the Confederate statue, holding signs wanting to take the statue down. But not one of them could give a reason as to why. When I first got out here, they were standing right next to City Hall on the steps or whatever. They were actually the first group that I walked up to. As an independent journalist today, of course, it's not hard to know what side of the fence I stand on when it comes to the state flag.
Outlaw Matt Reardon returns to Oxford after nearly 3 years to investigate, document, and ultimately vindicate himself. Matt Reardon was unlawfully arrested and illegally confined on May 26, 2017, until July 6, when he was coerced under extreme stress to plea out to a crime he never committed and couldn't possibly have committed in order to see and ultimately get his daughter back into his life. To add insult to injury, in what seemed like an unreal and unimaginable nightmare, a mandatory part of his involuntary plea involved being banished from the city and county for the term of his probation, 5 years. and signing a covenant to not sue the sheriff's department, the city, the county, any officers involved, any city or county elected official, or any city or county employee. They thought they had every angle tied up. One big problem for them. Actually, two. First, Matt got off probation at halftime, just 2.5 years. The second, being the county opening the door, giving him every legitimate reason to legally bypass the covenant to not sue when even more corruption started to surface at some of the highest levels, including the county and sheriff's department, refusing to comply with a Public Records Freedom of Information Act request after the sheriff's department admitted in the last batch of documents requested that Deputy Jared Bundren had received a mystery phone call on May 24, 2017, just 2 days before Reardon was ambushed on the square in Oxford, Mississippi, and arrested by 4 sheriff's investigators, including Bundren. Not long into his discovery phase, he realizes that there is much more involvement in this plot. The FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office refused to get involved and have refused to look at any evidence. Maybe that's because they played a big part in this scandal even happening in the first place. It became increasingly evident when the FBI completely refused to comply with a public records request to produce an investigative report called a 302, which would have been generated from a sit-down meeting Reardon had with 2 agents on May 25, 2017. Reardon took the advisement of an assistant U.S. attorney and sat down with the 2 agents at the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi on May 25, 2017. It is during this meeting where Reardon shows proof of a death threat being made on him and further proving Reardon's innocence in the all-out attack on Reardon and his rights the very next day. It is during this meeting also that Reardon discusses how he purchased an AR-15 for self-defense on May 20th, 2017, and he also discussed how his First Amendment rights were brutally attacked due to a cheap shot injunction taken out by the soon-to-be mayor-elect and her husband, essentially barring him from addressing City Hall on the day of the election, June 6, 2017, which he was already listed on the published agenda for. Since that time, the FBI has sat back taking a silent approach, even making reference to the fact that they could not locate the 302 investigative report, which would accurately show everything, along with any surveillance gathered from that meeting. In trying to combat trickle-down corruption, which he names as one of the biggest threats to society, Oxford Outlaw Matt Reardon bravely continues to get closer and closer to the fire as he finds more and more government involvement and pushback from the same ones that plotted to frame him, silence him, get rid of him, and ultimately destroy his life back in 2017. It's a race against the clock, and Matt is a man on a mission in an all-out war on corruption to reclaim his rights and his life, which were so brutally destroyed by the careless, selfish, and shocking corrupt acts of this local government and the ones who assisted in helping to cover everything up.
In new news, American Airlines employees are now allowed to wear Black Lives Matter pins. How does that sit with you? A society is taking a hard left turn. You've got Goodyear that will not let employees wear Make America Great Again hats because, of course, President Donald Trump branded Make America Great Again, MAGA. But what is wrong with the saying, Make America Great Again? As such, with seemingly everything. A hypocritical standard. You've got companies that ban products such as Make America Great Again hats, while you've got companies that are allowing and possibly even promoting the wearing of leftist propaganda such as Black Lives Matter. What's next? It's the next question we have to ask ourselves. There's $1 million question. What's next? Who's next? Political correctness. That became a highlight issue with the media and, of course, continuously echoed by Obama. All of a sudden, it was a priority to be politically correct. Well, it became such a priority several years back during the Obama era to be politically correct. I decided I was going to take a hard turn. And anti-political correctness was the agenda. I don't sugarcoat things. Firm believer, if you don't like what I say, turn the channel. But if you do like what I say, please share it. What good does it do to keep it suppressed like the fake news media? Like the Oxford Eagle. Horrible. The Daily Mississippian. Horrible. Like the Local Voice. Horrible. WREG, WMC, WTVA. Horrible, horrible, horrible. No matter what, you see all the dumb shit that they put on the news every day. I mean, just some of the stupidest things that catch the attention of the news. But, alright. My name is Matt Reardon. I am the Oxford Outlaw. You ever get that feeling? You feel like impending doom has been casted upon you. I had that feeling just a few days ago. Reached out to a friend of mine, whom, by the way, is an attorney. Unfortunately, not the type of attorney that can help me out with my case as shown on Riding with the Outlaw. I knew what all risk I was undertaking when I decided it was time, beyond time actually, to come out with my story and even producing all the evidence to corroborate everything that I had said. In fact, I never realized all the additional corruption and evidence I'd find just over the last 3 months, but I'll tell you, it's astonishing. So I asked my friend if he could check Delta Computer Systems for me, because I just had a hunch. Keep in mind, after 18 to 19 police reports being filed over a period of 5 years from my ex, Phyllis Crowder, Lizzie Crowder, then it was Liz Crowder, now it might be Lizzie Kester. What was once Lizzie Miller and Lizzie Hartline. Sure didn't do a good job finding out everything I needed to know that this girl would stop at nothing to flip my life upside down. She used me to get a kid. No sooner than she got her kid, it has just been rotten to the core, on a mission to inflict as much hurt and as much untrustworthiness. And she played a crucial role in what happened to me back in 2017. See, her attorney for the original child custody matter was none other than Ray Tannehill. For those that have been following along, you know that Ray is the husband of Oxford Mayor, as I've said several times, the illegitimate 36th mayor of Oxford, Robin Tannehill. Ray and I have gone back. We've gone back for quite some time, clashing. In fact, 2017 would be the third time that him and I had a dealing with each other directly. And it had been a game of cat and mouse, tit for tat. Last time I saw him, I met him in conflict prior to 2017 was in 2016 And this was the original child custody matter. We had a meeting. Well, we spoke on the phone probably a year before that. I went to him for some advice. Turned around, acted very unprofessional to me. Not as an attorney should act. If you look at the injunction they took out representing his wife, that they took out against me on May 22nd, 2017, you can see in the wording that he is not exactly a by-the-book type of guy. Most of the reasons that request on the injunctive relief were for constitutionally protected activity. In fact, there were even things said on the sworn affidavit that actually go to prove that my civil rights were indeed violated May 1st, and mentioning that on May 1st I was arrested standing on county property holding the state flag of Mississippi. Whether or not Ray and Robin know, through those sworn statements, they indeed strengthened my case and added more credibility to everything that I've been saying. So I would like to thank our illegitimate 36th mayor of Montana Hill and Ray for providing those sworn affidavits. Tell me how that broke any kind of law. I can tell you once again, the county grossly violated the civil rights of a Marine Corps veteran who actually wrote a blank check to our government exactly 10 years prior for an amount up to his life to uphold and defend our Constitution. And I can't think of a better reason that I had to stand out there. But I've got all the police reports, 19 police reports filed by Crowder over 5 years. None of them were proven to be true, legit, because all of them were ridiculous, cooked up lies to try to build a paper trail. And I would have known absolutely nothing about these had I not have had that hunch to do a public records request to get them. Most of them trying to claim that I was actually stalking her with a drone from a long distance. And while I did have a drone that was capable of flying 3 miles away, that's in prime conditions, meaning no trees, just no obstructions. Around here, you might, on that drone, you might get 1.5 miles. Maybe. Fact is, there was absolutely no way I could have been flying a drone anywhere around. Never was even in the area. I actually abided by their bullshit banishment order that barred me from entering Lafayette County and Oxford for the term of my supervised probation, which was 5 years. Big problem. Oops. Gets off of probation in half time, 2.5 years, back in February. I'm at Olive Branch Municipal Court. This has been a long-awaited process, a long-awaited trial right here. The first of many getting to the bottom of this shit that's been just dumped in my lap. My ex, the mother of my 6-year-old child, who has manipulated the courts, who has lied non-stop, has filed fake and frivolous accusations in the past, has kept my child away from me since January of this year, so 8 months in now. grotesquely defying a judge's visitation order, and honestly taking full advantage of the fact of COVID, as well as me being completely burdened with legal fight procedures. So this right here, back in November of 2018, she put a false rape accusation against me, of all things. And I didn't find out about that until a couple of months later. And that was a shock. I was at work whenever I got a call, and I voluntarily went up there and spoke with the detective. And it was enough evidence that they not only dismissed the accusation, but they turned around and they filed charges on her for filing a false report. So in the title of this live stream, and I gotta get back into the courthouse. In the title of this live stream, I said that I'm pushing for 2 different reforms. And they're needed. They're common sense, okay? One of them is the way that the law looks at false reports, filing false reports, making false accusations. Because until the law is changed on that, which I 100% intend on advocating for, 100%, it should be a no-brainer that if you falsely accuse somebody of a crime, that you should be charged with an equivalent type of charge. Meaning, if you accuse somebody of a crime that is a felony, accuse somebody of a crime that they could potentially go to jail for the rest of their life, prison, that it could literally destroy their lives on an accusation. Well, I think that it should be common sense that if it's proven that that person made a false report, filed false charges, it should be common sense that that person be charged with a felony. To charge somebody with a misdemeanor for making a false report, a false accusation, it's not fitting. It's far from fitting. It's far from fair. Because had I had been in Oxford and this all had gone down, as I've said from the beginning, would have immediately judged me guilty. There's also, I think, when it comes to chancery matters, when you have one party that just grossly goes in contempt of the judge's orders, intentionally violates the agreement, especially to prevent access to a parent. In my case, I haven't seen my 6-year-old daughter now for 8 months. And at that age, they are so influenceable. And so much happens. And there's so much that I will never be able to get back. And meanwhile, Liz Crowder and her attorney, Christy McCoy, are going to undoubtedly try to paint me as some type of crazed monster, when it wasn't even me that brought the charges against her. It was the Olive Branch Police Department. For her decision to drive down, have sex with me after Thanksgiving of 2018, after sending 30 pictures and talking about everything that she did, to then take my child on, it was my visitation weekend when I had her, take my child out of my house while I'm asleep, drive back to Oxford from Olive Branch. I wake up at like 3 in the morning, child's gone. She gets caught. See, I don't know if she was married at the time or if she was just with the guy. She got caught in the bullshit coming up there to Olive Branch, doing what she did. And she drove back up to Olive Branch 5 days later, goes to the hospital and cries foul with false rape accusation. I just got prepped pretty much for what was coming. What I already knew, because it's really their only shot at offense, is to try to make me look crazy. They're going to try to take everything that I've done with writing with the Outlaw, even though I've produced evidence. It's not just hearsay, it's actually evidence that I've produced. And they're going to try to make me out to be a crazy person. And I don't understand how Christy McCoy is a victim advocate attorney, gets state funding from the state of Mississippi to defend victims. Yet she's representing somebody that's creating victims through her lies. If they would have been successful with this, there's a great preponderance that I would have been shanked over the disgusting, heinous, hideous accusations that her client has made over the last few years, trying to get me permanently out of the life of my child. But she's keeping my money, $600 a month. They got a withholding order on that back when all the bullshit happened back in 2017. So yeah, I'm angry because no matter how this goes today, justice is not going to prevail. Justice will not be served. No matter what way it goes today, undoubtedly, I'm going to leave the courtroom mad, feeling like what should have happened didn't happen, because there's no way that it can, so long as it's looked at as a misdemeanor and not a felony. You cannot get away with accusing somebody of a felonious crime and expect that a slap on the wrist misdemeanor is going to deter future similar occurrences. And I've seen this rule on the books I've seen this law on the books with other states, and it makes sense that the charge is aggravated or elevated to that of a felony if it is a felony that's accused. There's no way somebody that falsely accuses somebody of a crime such as rape, there's no way a slap on the wrist, $500 fine, have a nice day is going to fix that. But what will? I get a guilty verdict today out of this courtroom, I can assure you, I'm going to do everything in my power to bringing civil causes, defamation, slander, abusive process. Those are 3 good civil charges to rack up on her. Matt Reardon, Oxford Outlaw. I gotta get in the courtroom. See ya. I'm in DeSoto County today, Olive Branch. Came down here for the trial of Liz Crowder. She was charged by Olive Branch Police Department for making a false report, or alleging falsely reporting a crime, when in November, I think November 29th, 2018, she falsely accused me of raping her in a, once again, an extended witch hunt. Something that was conjured up. I actually learned new stuff today. New stuff like Liz had, that night when she was over, she made sure to completely photo document my house as part of a ongoing plan to get my daughter stripped from me. The prosecutor actually said, asked me that. He was like, did you know that she had taken photos galore of your house before she left that night? Look, I didn't charge her with this crime. Olive Branch Police Department charged her with this crime. She's always got some liberal attorney coming to her defense, trying to paint me out as a damn monster. And that was no different today. I was wanting to take it to trial. I was wanting them not to take any deal whatsoever. In fact, the first question out of my mouth was, are they pleading NOLO? Or is NOLO an option for them to plead? Because see, NOLO contendo, or contender, it's ultimately guilty. It's no admission of guilt. It's find me guilty, judge, but I'm not going to admit guilt. And originally, that was not an option. I didn't want it to be an option. Their whole entire playbook of plays. Christy McCoy, defense attorney, which I knew what she was up to from the beginning, since I heard the words Christy McCoy when it came to her being Liz's defense attorney. So, their whole plan was to get me on the stand and to rattle me one way or the other. So, the prosecutor actually recommended that I don't even take the stand, because their whole goal was to try to piss me off in light of everything going on. It's completely unfair. It's been nothing but just a conspired upon witch hunt this entire time. It has been a liberal witch hunt. So the sergeant, or the Olive Branch Police Department, Sergeant Holiday, is the one that took the initial report and interrogated me. I guess interrogated Liz She was about to deliver a bombshell testimony, which there's no way, I don't see any way that she could have been found innocent. I was advised that the call recordings could not be admitted as evidence, at least at this stage, because of my background in productions. It could not be 100% validated without having a professional examine the recordings to know if they were edited, doctored, any of that. I guess I understand that, but they weren't doctored. They came straight from Ring Central, doing it to it being a foiled plan, and also at that same time admitted that her husband, Dustin Kester, played a big part in all of that. I don't know of anything else that could have been inferred. I didn't think, I literally had to spell everything out. The city asked for the maximum on that as far as penalty. She pled out NOLO in the whole little crosstalk before the judge. Her attorney stated some garbage that I've had a lot going on over the last 3 years. There's all this stuff going on in Oxford that, you know, basically what she was trying to tell the judge is that I was crazy. It's her damn client, Liz, played a significant role in everything that happened to me in 2017. Significant. You know, I don't think that everything would have happened without Ray Tannehill's involvement, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have happened without Liz's involvement. She had her fingers in everything. Manipulation, conjuring, conniving to falsely accuse the father of her child of a sickening crime, and somebody that's as sick as her. The only way they're going to learn is through a serious charge, is through spending some time behind bars. She's kept my child from me since January. Meanwhile, I'm paying $600 a month in child support. Made sure to have that taken out. I have been unfairly attacked this entire time. Luckily, the judge gave her 30 days in jail. I don't know if he suspended 11 or if he just waved away 11. But they're appealing this. They're appealing it to the county court over here, which is honestly, I mean, that's where I wanted it in the first place, because there's no court reporter here at municipal court. There's no legitimate court record. I had enough of the shit talking up there at the front by her attorney to the judge, trying to paint me out as a monster. I said, "Judge, can I approach the bench?" Because I wanted to address this. I'm not a fan of, talk about somebody and don't give them the opportunity to speak. He's trying to stack the deck, try to paint me out, be somebody that I'm not, to manipulate the courts continuously. By the way, she just admitted that, they did file an action over in Chancery Court to modify the current order. Well, how in the hell do you modify an order where I didn't even have full custody of my daughter to begin with? I have abided 100% by the visitation order established, by the custody agreement that was in place. I'm the only one that has abided by that agreement. My $600 in child support withheld from my income, paid directly to her every month. I have bent over backwards to accommodate. And yet, they're going to frivolously file an action in Chancery Court to try to remove the very little bit of visitation that I'm supposed to get with my daughter, that Liz Crowder and her attorney decided that they were going to play judge, jury, and executioner on? I don't think so. They wanted to assert that because I was back doing what I was doing with Riding with the Outlaw, gathering the evidence, making a documentary along the way, that I had completely lost my mind and I was unfit to have my daughter at visitation. One problem, they just filed that. January, while my newborn was at Le Bonheur, and we were at Le Bonheur, let Lydia see her for the first time. That was when Liz took it on herself, out of jealousy, I can only imagine, to whisk Lydia away, to keep her away, to refuse to abide by the visitation order set, and bringing her to the drop-off point, has played the advantage point of me being financially burdened from all the legal stuff that I'm having to deal with on my own, without having so much as an attorney in my corner. But yet, when it comes to a liberal, they can muster up any and all fighting strength on something as open and shut as filing a false report. When there are text messages, when there are naked pictures sent, when she takes it on herself to drive up to Olive Branch back in 2018 to wake me up, to have sex with me, to then go to McDonald's, go get a Big Mac or whatever, to then come back to my house. Then I fall asleep watching TV. While I'm asleep, she wakes my child up, who was rightfully with me that weekend for visitation, takes my child out of the house, goes around my house while I'm asleep with a camera taking pictures. On a premeditated plot to try to take my daughter from me. And if that's not the very definition of a monster, I don't know what is. Drives back to Olive Branch 5 days later and files and goes to the hospital and claims rape, all because her fiance or whoever it was found out she came up to Olive Branch, did what she did. All I'm going to say is this. Christy wanted to say that I was bringing up her client, or I was talking bad about her client on videos. This is the first time I've opened up and I've aired out about that. This is the first time. I've talked about how Liz had played a material part of the stuff in 2017. I've talked about how my child has been used as a wedge of the court, a weaponized tool to coerce a favored outcome. My child has been unfairly thrown throughout the court system. Her name entered in all these different court cases. Her name entered all in Department of Child Services because of her mother's false, frivolous claims. Not one part of that is badgering her client, is speaking the truth.
I'm not going to just adopt the mentality of that being okay. Just sitting Indian style with my palms on my kneecaps and a smile on my face. That's what's extremely messed up in society today. Oddly enough, so many have become trained almost as if they were robotic to do just that. That's why this whole predicament is going on right now with riding with the outlaw. There are quite a few people, even conservatives, that think I'm doing it wrong, or won't ever win, etc. Because I refuse to be quiet about it and back down. But have the same people saying and thinking the same things been in the same predicament? Have they sworn a lifelong oath to America to defend its supreme law of the land and to guard and protect it from the very forms of tyranny, including socialism, that pose a significant threat to it today? And have these people walked a mile in my shoes? Pain and suffering I've dealt with for quite some time, from the complete rejection from my own family, to include my 6-year-old daughter being intentionally held from me and used in a way to manipulate me and coerce a favored outcome for not only her mother, but the county and the city as well. So no, me backing down, especially on an issue such as this, is never going to happen. 100+ years ago, a man would be shot for doing what these people did to me. And ever since then, society has slid downhill to people actually being cowards, afraid to step up and say hell to the fuck no. Not only defend themselves, but hit them back hard on the offensive, in order to send a clear message that there are certain things you just don't do, period. This is one of them. This area is nothing but an oasis of quicksand, with rattlesnakes surrounding it. I've never in my life witnessed so much corrupt shit going on, and a shockingly high percentage going on involving me in the middle. So I hold the keys to deal a crushing blow to it if I pull this thing off. It's a game of chess. Stay 3 moves ahead. I've been preparing for this for quite some time. That's why I honed in and skilled up on marketing and selling people. That's why I spent time on the road learning how to engineer and produce music. That's why I took on my own small justice court cases with a 100% track record representing myself and having a trial. That was just knowledge learned, flexing my muscles and absorption. I just happen to be really good at it. See, here's the thing. Everything in life is a sale. Sales happen every day. If you think about it, anytime you speak to someone, you're trying to sell them on what you are telling them. At some point, you'll be selling somebody on you. So being skilled in sales, which only requires a passionate desire and no college degree, can have tremendous benefits in life. Of those, of course, would come financially. So when they stole my time, which stole potential opportunities, especially when I had just gotten a $10,000 payout, they stole many opportunities in time and memories. They made it personal when they wrote out their lie, obstructing along the way. Fear-mongering, never-ending fishing for anything they could put real charges on me, yet they couldn't find anything despite illegally obtaining my email and social media passwords through the invocation of fear into my wife. Still nothing. And they made it really personal when they costed my mother $9,000 for bullshit, and I was coerced under fear to plea out and be banished for the term of a 5-year probation, surrender my guns, and sign a covenant to not sue. Now we have the FBI refusing to produce a 302 investigative report of May 25, 2017, the Sheriff's Department and the County Attorney refusing to produce information in regards to the May 24, 2017 phone call received by Jared Bundren. Blowhard Bob Norman called me a criminal when I reminded him that he and his office have an obligation to the public to thwart this type of madness and to investigate and prosecute corruption where it's found, not be a part of it, and not returning multiple calls over 2 months' time on something as serious as this is absolutely uncalled for. I'm the criminal? No, Bob, I think you are the criminal. I trusted you when I came to you May 24th or 25th of 2017 with a death threat that was made to me, in which I had that and other credible information, and you wanted me to go meet with the FBI, so I did. I wasn't approached by you or your office. I went to you. So where's the 302 and who made the bogus call on May 24, 2017? Bob added himself right up to the top of the suspect list there. Then we got the circus going on with Circuit Court, where I have no clue really who my judge is, because Luther should be recused. In fact, he should be recused of all cases at Lafayette County. I filed my own motions, and way more than I should have had to, if he wasn't going to allow so much as an evidentiary hearing from the very beginning, after getting the details of all the fraud committed and what was a clear, conspired upon plot to remove my civil rights at the hands of politics and a personal vendetta by the husband of the incoming mayor. And that's why he knew the way to twist my wrist was my daughter.
And want to further attack, just further attack the character of an innocent American that was framed, knowing damn well that they'd be whiny, just screaming foul, crying foul, if anything remotely happened to them. So for those that are just that interested, DD 214, it doesn't even matter to me. It doesn't. I don't care. It's not going to help me in any way. I'm not pursuing anything that's even remotely like what my MOS was. If you want it, through this live stream, you've got my explicit permission to ask him for it. Redacted, of course. Charles, make sure you redact it. As far as my personal information, don't be giving my social out to anybody. But feel free to take an hour of your time in producing the document as well, Charles, and charge them $300 for an hour, your standard rate. So if it's worth it, that's all I got for you. Thanks for riding along with me. You've been riding with the Outlaw. My name is Matt Reardon. Be sure you go to www.ridingwiththeoutlaw.com. Please share this live stream. Go back and watch it. I know I'm going to go back and watch it. That was crazy when Joe East came out. Crazy. And it's very clear that they're hiding something. They don't want the truth to come out.
So I want to read something, and this is going to be, I think, probably the final little bit that I was going to touch on, and that is how ironically spot on this is. This is 42 U.S. Code 1985, conspiracy to interfere with civil rights, federal. First paragraph really doesn't apply. It's preventing an officer from performing duties, but the second and the third are spot on. Second, obstructing justice, intimidating party, witness, or juror. If two or more persons in any state or territory conspired to deter, by force, intimidation, or threat, any party or witness in any court of the United States from attending such court, or from testifying to any matter pending therein, freely, fully, and truthfully, or to injure such party or witness, person, or property on account of his having so attended or testify, or to influence the verdict, presentment, or indictment of any grand or petite juror in any such court, or to injure such juror in his person or property on account of any verdict, presentment, or indictment lawfully assented to by him, or of his being or having been such juror, or if two or more persons conspire for the purpose of impeding, hindering, obstructing, or defeating in any manner the due course of justice in any state or territory, with intent to deny to any citizen the equal protection of the laws, or to injure him or his property for lawfully enforcing or attempting to enforce the right of any person or class of persons to the equal protection of the laws. That's spot on right there, that last sentence. Because I don't think it can get any closer than this. When the agencies that are supposed to prevent this type of stuff from happening, when they're not doing their job in intervening and preventing it, when they play a part in it themselves. And when we as citizens do what we as citizens are entitled to do, to step up and hold these people accountable. That blocking me, trying to rig charges, trying to conspire, which is just two or more people planning. And then section 3 is depriving persons of rights or privileges. If two or more persons in any state or territory conspire to go in disguise on the highway or on the premises of another for the purpose of depriving, either directly or indirectly, any person or class of persons of the equal protection of the laws, or of equal privileges and immunities under the laws, or for the purpose of preventing or hindering the constituted authorities of any state or territory from giving or securing to all persons within such state or territory the equal protection of the laws, or if two or more persons conspire to prevent by force, intimidation, or threat any citizen who is lawfully entitled to vote from giving his support or advocacy in a legal matter toward or in favor of the election of any lawfully qualified person as an elector for president or vice president, or as a member of Congress of the United States, or to injure any citizen in person or property on account of such support or advocacy in any case of conspiracy set forth in this section, if one or more persons engaged therein do or cause to be done any act in furtherance of the object of such conspiracy, whereby another is injured in his person or property, or deprived of having or exercising any right or privilege of a citizen of the United States, the party so injured or deprived may have action for the recovery of damages occasioned by such injury or deprivation against any one or more of the conspirators. I think 2 and 3, I think they were written about riding with the outlaw. Because there's no way they can defend against that. No way. Because the facts, without even making any blind assertions, just the facts alone, read what those 2 paragraphs read.